We are in the peak of the holiday season, counting down the days for Christmas and the brand new year. And an early present came for all Chicago Bears fans as your 2025 Chicago Bears are playoff bound. And we're here to break it all down on the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day right here on WCPT 820 AM, HeartlandSignal.com, WSBC 1240 AM, Chicago, and on YouTube at The Sports Cubicle. And we saw one of the craziest games in recent Bear history, one of the games that is going to go down in the history books, in the lore of Bears versus Packers, a game that will be talked about on the resume of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams for years to come, and maybe something that propels the Chicago Bears on a playoff run. And it is no longer just speculation, just hopes, just conversation. It is actual fact. The Chicago Bears will be going to the NFC playoffs after the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Detroit Lions. And we have this article from ESPN.com. Courtney Cronin. Ben Johnson had preached the magic number for weeks. The first-year Chicago Bears coach wouldn't begin to think about the postseason until his team crossed the 11-win threshold. That happened Saturday night with a thrilling come-from-behind 22-16 win over the Green Bay Packers, but that didn't clinch a playoff berth for the Bears. Chicago had to wait until Sunday when the Detroit Lions lost 29-24 to the Pittsburgh Steelers to celebrate its first postseason berth in 5 years. Quote, "It's a signature moment for us as a team to be able to build this confidence," quarterback Caleb Williams said after the win over Green Bay. Quote, "A signature moment for us to be able to be in the position where we are with the 11th wins and everything at the tip of our fingertips is exactly where we want to be. I'll put it that way." The Bears are currently the number 2 seed in the NFC. Chicago last made the postseason in 2020 as the NFC's third wildcard team when it finished 8-8. The Bears started out 5-1 that season before enduring a 6-game losing streak. They backed their way into the postseason by picking up 3 late wins over the Texans, Vikings, and Jaguars before losing to the Packers in the finale. The New Orleans Saints made quick work of the Bears in the 2020 wildcard round with a 21-9 victory. Only 3 players from that team are still on the roster: tight end Cole Kmet, cornerback Jalen Johnson, and kicker Cairo Santos. And the article continues from Courtney. The Bears have won 11 of their past 13, including 2 in a row. Chicago has won the turnover battle 10 times this season, the most in the NFL, and won all 10 of those games. And let's continue a little bit forward from this article by Courtney. The Bears have won 11 of their past 13, including 2 in a row. Chicago has won the turnover battle 10 times this season, the most in the NFL, and won all 10 of those games. The Bears are 7-2 in one-score games after going 6-20 in such games the past 3 seasons combined. The last time they won this many one-score games was in 2010 when they lost to the Packers in the NFC title game. The Bears have 6 victories this season after trailing in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, the most such wins in a season since the 1970 merger. The Lions' loss also earned the San Francisco 49ers, who are 10-4, a spot in the postseason. The 49ers are currently the NFC's number 6 seed and host the Bears on Sunday Night Football in Week 17. Chicago closes the regular season at Soldier Field against the Detroit Lions on January 4th. The Bears' last win in the postseason came during the 2010 season when they were the NFC's number 2 seed. After earning a bye, Chicago beat Seattle 35-24 in the divisional round before losing to the eventful Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game. And you can check out the entire article from Courtney Cronin over at ESPN.com. With Lions' loss, Bears clinch first playoff berth in 5 years. After the initial excitement and the post-game show and all the posts and all the conversation and text messages and phone calls and just the excitement wore out, and I finally went to bed at 2 a.m. Saturday night, aka Sunday morning, and watching all of Week 16 Sunday, there were only 2 things that really stood out to me when all of that kind of wore off. And I kind of came back down to reality and started thinking about what these next 2 games mean what a real playoff berth actually means now that it's not just talk and speculation and conversation, as we've been saying. And it's really two significant yet simple things. It's health and preparation. Those are the only two things that matter the last 2 weeks of the season and this potential playoff run. And we'll start with health. Obviously, a team that's missing Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Kyle Gordon, who's on the IR, but it's eligible to come back now that you've made the playoffs to be on your playoff roster. And we saw CJ Gardner-Johnson, who got hurt recently. And this is a team that has dealt with injuries. But everybody in the NFL has dealt with injuries. It's how do you respond to it? How is your week of practice? How is your rehab, the game plan, game script going to utilize and take advantage of how much health your roster has? Or what you can do to take advantage of a 70% great player, 70, 80% of a Rome Odunze, of a Luther Burden. But here's the thing, though. It's not just who's not healthy on your team. Like we've said, it's the NFL. It's full of rosters right now. The team that is going to win the Super Bowl has a team that's completely beaten up, that's going to have starters, Pro Bowlers, all pros. They're going to have surgeries this offseason. The question is, can you stay healthy these next 2 weeks against San Francisco, against Detroit? How does the NFL play out the next 2 weeks? How does your potential first-round matchup end the season? Are they healthy? Are they limping into the playoffs? Are they getting healthy just at the right time? Health for any team is an underlying reason and foundation they make a big, deep playoff run that might end in Super Bowl confetti. With luck comes health. They're one and the same sometimes. If Caleb Williams is the best, most talented quarterback by the time we get to mid-January, because other top-tier quarterbacks like a Matthew Stafford sprains an ankle, somebody jams a thumb, somebody starts seeing ghosts on the field, that is how you get those random lucky moments because you just had the more talented quarterback or the more talented team because health was on your side. And usually, Lady Luck is behind that health. But number 2 is preparation. And it starts with cleaning up penalties. This is a Bears team that's top 7 in calls against them. And in the NFL playoffs, no matter if you're the number 1 seed, you have home field advantage, penalties will get you booted out. Every possession matters. Every second matters, every timeout matters, every decision is accounted for and is put under a microscope. Every play is a part of your resume and legacy because every single moment is a chance for you to secure a victory and move on in the dance. You have to make sure that a team that has a veteran offensive line, that has talented veteran receivers, consistent tight ends, workhorse running back, and a smart QB with a top-tier head coach, you need to play a clean game. So it falls on the defense. Don't give any of these offenses in the NFC, which all of them can go and win a Super Bowl, don't give them extra possessions. Don't give them another opportunity to put up 6 points when your defense just stopped them and is only going to give them a potential field goal. Those are the scenarios that are going to make it a short playoff berth. So let's talk a little bit, though, about the road ahead, because it is a reality for the Chicago Bears and Chicago Bears fans that they are playoff bound. And we are breaking it down right here on the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I'm WCPT 820 AM, HeartlandSignal.com, WSBC 1240 AM, Chicago, and on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle. You need to know your personnel. Right now, currently, after Week 16, heading into Week 17, you have a Sunday Night Football matchup, prime time against the San Francisco 49ers. So you have two teams now that are both in the playoffs. You're heading to the West Coast. Both teams might have a chance for playoff positioning. The Bears are trying to hold on to that number 2 seed, which we'll talk about. San Francisco trying to move up, trying to take advantage of the Rams losing. There's so many scenarios still involved in this game because, again, everything still matters for all these teams. So knowing that the Packers are your current matchup, you already know it's a tough game, whether it's at Soldier Field or Chicago. You know how beat up they are. You saw how beat up they left after losing to you. But it doesn't change the fact that you never apologize for what happens in the middle of a game. You don't apologize for winning an NFL game. But it's okay to be realistic and to live in reality that Jordan Love did get hurt. Green Bay would have played a better game. And Malik Willis played a hell of a game himself, so let's not discredit them and act like it was this garbage game. Malik Willis was giving the Bears problems. But point being is, it's not Jordan Love. So you might play a healthier or whatever version of healthier at this point Jordan Love would be. And Matt LaFleur is still the head coach of that team. So you have to take that all into consideration, that's still in play. But the number 6 seed is the San Francisco 49ers. We know these things are fluid. Who is an upcoming matchup? You'll see how much they put on tape against you. How much is Ben Johnson going to put on tape against them? Again, you talk about the top of the heap of head coaches for Shanahan in San Francisco and Ben Johnson trying to get to that level. So it's two top-tier minds, once again. And that's going to be a theme, right? Great head coaches going up against each other with very talented teams. And on that talent is Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. I don't have to tell you anything about those two players. You can visualize George Kittle tormenting and feasting in the middle of the field at Soldier Field. And you can just see Christian McCaffrey having 120 rushing yards, 107 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, right? Like, you can see all of that happening. And just, again, because all these things are ever-changing, the number 5 seed are the LA Rams right now, who Matthew Stafford, Bears fans are not strangers to, in LA and especially in Detroit, who is having an MVP season. And you have Puka and Devontae Adams, who, again, if you're looking at just top-tier talent and a secondary for the Bears who they may get a lot of turnovers and they might make Matthew Stafford make mistakes, but you know Puka is going to get his, and you know Devontae Adams is going to get his. Devontae Adams, who was hurt this past week, he's going to play in the playoff games if he has any type of life in him. So that's a tough out. Those are just the 3 teams in striking distance if you maintain the number 2 seed, if you win the NFC North. You need to know your personnel, and it's part of preparation, that no matter the matchup, it's going to be tough, and they each throw something different at you. But if you're able to be as healthy as you can be, if your training staff is able to rehab these guys, if your coaching staff is able to catch them up, if Ben Johnson is able to utilize them as best he can, and if they are able to perform, it doesn't matter who you're matched up at that point. The tough game stays tough, but you are no longer hurting yourself, shooting yourself on the foot. You are giving yourself the best opportunity to win a playoff game. How well did you take care of your body? What did the training staff do to get you to that point to play a football game? And then understanding as a fan base, it's going to take a little luck. Look at how lucky you had to be as a fan base, as the Bears team themselves, for the ending of that Lions versus Steelers game. For Aaron Rodgers to be one of the reasons why you clinched a playoff berth. Now, I know some of you who are listening and watching have noticed that I haven't necessarily been talking about winning these games or in detail about these games because they are big games. You know, San Francisco potential playoff matchup, a team that will be in the NFC playoffs alongside you. And then the Detroit Lions, a division rival, a team that's really good, that they themselves are going to keep fighting. Their coach is not going to allow them to quit. So, so I can hear Bears fans who are listening to this telling me they need to win these games. They need to handle business. All of that is true. They do need to win both these games if possible. They should win at least one of these games. It'd be nice if they win that Detroit game. It'd be nice if they win the San Francisco game. But you want to hold on to that number 2 seed. You want to host as many games possible at Soldier Field as you can. But you don't sacrifice everything for it. You don't sacrifice the health of key players. You don't put everything on tape. If a game is available, if a game is there for you to win, you go out there and win it. But do not do any type of dumb play calling, putting your players in position that is detrimental to them. Whether that's physically, momentum, anything. If you're down 20, 30 points, you don't need to have Caleb out there late in the game. Don't get cute with play calling and have somebody out there and being vulnerable or exposed to get injured because they're not used to carrying the ball or running a certain route or taking some form of collision and impact. Those are the type of things you need to avoid these next 2 weeks. Football is a dangerous game. It's a high-impact game. It's a game where everybody, no matter the position, leaves a little banged up with some cuts, bruises, and, God forbid, a bunch of injuries. It just happens. Players are playing injured and hurts all the time. But if you can mitigate that, the onus is on you, Ben Johnson, on this front office, and the leaders on that roster. They're going to want to win every game. Ben Johnson's going to want to win every game. Dennis Allen, Ryan Poles, every Bears fan is going to want to win out the rest of the season and go undefeated, obviously, in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl and then win another Super Bowl next year. We all want that. But you got to take it step by step. It is not worth winning a battle to lose the war. You've come this far. You have an opportunity, a legit chance to not only be in the playoffs, not only to win your division, to be a real championship contender in 2025. Don't squander that right now. Health and preparation is what you want to see coming out of these next 2 games. What you want to hear out of Halas Hall. The outcome of Bears-Niners and Bears-Lions might have consequences. They do matter. They're important. What's more important is that you come out healthy and ready for the first playoff game that you've had since 2020. We want to know your thoughts. Let us know as the Chicago Bears beat the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night. And then Sunday, late afternoon, the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by Aaron Rodgers, beat the Detroit Lions with a little bit of luck at the very end of the game for Bears fans. And we'll be covering all of it right here on the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch. And if you want even more Chicago Bears content, check out the Bear Era podcast with EJ Snyder, Kieran Hall, and myself, Mike Mercado. We break everything down in the Chicago Bears and the NFC North. And now that we know the Chicago Bears are playoff bound, so is the Bear Era podcast, brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and sponsored by Homage. It's EJ Snyder, Kieran Hall, and myself, Mike Mercado. Make sure you guys check us out over there at the Bear Era podcast. But until then, take care of yourself and each other. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch as the Chicago Bears are heading to the NFL playoffs. So make sure you guys stay tuned right here on WCPT 820 AM, HeartlandSignal.com, WSBC 1240 AM Chicago, and on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle for more Chicago Bears conversation. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.